What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Pursuit Podcast. As you know, we bring 6, 7, 8-figure earners on this show to give you guys gems from their stories. And today's episode is nothing short from that. I drove all the way to Vegas to get today's guest on the show, WestCoastDave, who's gonna give you all of the TURO plays and car rental plays, especially if you wanna make money without actively being on the app. So you do not wanna miss today's episode. Make sure you tap in. Let's go. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On the Pursuit Podcast. It's Britton Boyd, and today I'm in Las Vegas. And listen, this weekend I was on a Tesla run, and I said to myself, I need to maximize the weekend, right? How can I maximize a weekend other than do a podcast? So you guys know I had to figure out who was really going crazy on the rentals in Las Vegas. And, you know, I was on the internet, you know what I'm saying? Instagram, YouTube, and I found my guy right here. You know
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So WestCoastDave, I've been following you for a little bit, man. Welcome to the podcast. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm very inspired by the work that you do. So hopefully on this podcast, bro, you can break down the sauce and some gems, man.
Let's do it, man. We gotta give him some fire. I appreciate
Welcome to
you.
the pod, bro.
It's a pleasure to be on here.
Yes,
I'm ready
sir.
to give him the game.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it. All right, man. So what got you interested in, you know, like the rental game? You know what I'm saying? Like I know coming up, you know what I'm saying? We got the Avis, got the Hertz, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
What's everyone's favorite back in the day?
Like Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Yep.
The Enterprise is crazy because I actually let a friend of mine, this is a little sidebar, but I let a friend of mine, basically I rented him a car with Enterprise because he graduated college.
Oh, so you rented it out for him?
Yeah, because he wasn't 25, he couldn't get the car.
Right.
And it's my guy, one of my younger homies. And he actually worked with me in my former business. Really, really good dude. And I wanted to, you know, like I was excited for him. So I rented him a car. Yeah. Crashed it, bro.
Yeah. So I got some crazy stories too. I'll share a little later in the podcast. But I had people rent cars for people that were younger too.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell me that. They kind of did it hidden.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I have a little more experience, I know what to look for. In that.
Yeah.
So
For
definitely
sure.
a huge risk.
Okay, so let us know what got you started, and then what were some of the early challenges?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it actually started, well, I know it started when I was a kid. Like I've always been into cars. Like that was my thing. I was the guy with the posters on the wall, had, you know, all the nice cars, sports cars, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, that type of thing.
Are we talking about the Hot Wheels, like the little small joints?
No, I had the
the pictures too.
I had those,
Okay.
but I had the calendars.
Got you. Yeah,
So every time I flip the calendar to a new month, you see a new car.
Yeah. Murcielagos.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
Ferrari,
For sure.
458 Spider, they had all those on there.
Mm-hmm.
So going from that, like I always was interested in cars. Like I always like strived to get nicer cars for myself. So by the time I went to college, I had bought a 87 Monte Carlo SS.
Woo.
You know, right?
Yeah.
So I did a lot of work to it.
Yeah.
I swapped the engine out. I put a Corvette engine in it. I'm the guy in the parking lot doing
So
donuts.
you was already going crazy early.
Early. So I got to paint it like 2 different times, different colors. So I knew I was into cars, but what I was trying to do with my career side was get into something that made money. So that's why I jumped into real estate. You know, but I jumped in on the deep end, man. I went through like seminars and stuff.
So you was on the investment side.
Yeah, I was doing fix and flips.
Okay, nice.
Yep. So I got into fix and flips and man, crashed and burned. Crashed and burned. But I know why. Like I over leveraged myself. I didn't really know what I was doing. I jumped into luxury way too early before I even lived in a luxury house or knew about them myself. I just was like, no, I'm smart. I got this, you know?
Yeah.
So when I did that, what I realized was I wasn't enjoying the process.
When you were doing real estate?
When I was doing real estate. Yeah. And then it just kept circling back to the cars. At the same time, I was doing consulting in the automotive industry.
So when you say it was circling back to the cars, are you saying that like your mind was circling back or like
so opportunities?
The work you were doing, yeah.
Yeah, my mind and opportunities. Because even while I was doing real estate, I had a job consulting. So I had a detail shop.
Okay.
And I started helping detailers make more money by consulting with them and helping them, you know, add new services and optimize more.
Got you.
So I was already doing that.
Yeah.
And then someone came into one of our classes because we did training classes for that. And she said that she wanted to do training on detailing with us, because she wanted to maintain her own car fleet because she rented cars out.
And then light bulb hit?
Light bulb went off. And I'm like, what do you mean you rent cars out? She's like, yeah, I got my own fleet on TURO. At the time, I hadn't heard of it. This was 2016.
Okay. So she put you on TURO first time.
She put it
randomly come in and want to get the education.
random.
And then bang, you like, okay, what's this app?
Exactly. Yeah. But I always paid attention. I talked to a lot of different people that came in and out, a people person, communicating, consulting. So that's when I downloaded the app. But I didn't actually use it until 2019. So 3 years later.
So she told you about it in 2016.
Yes. Yep.
And did you even rent anything like yourself? Did you even?
Nope.
So you didn't, so you downloaded it, but you didn't even mess with it until 3 years later.
Exactly.
And then 3 years later, what made you want to use the app at that time?
So 3 years later, I had a Mustang GT and I had customized it. It was like all black, blacked out rims. Like it was lowered, like it was nice. So I had ceramic coated it, which is like something in the detail world where you protect the outside of the car, protect the paint. And I used it to advertise the ceramic coating around Las Vegas.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to drive my car there, hit them with a sales pitch. This is our coating product. They would like it. They would buy it. So once I had did that and I had switched gears into a different type of marketing, I thought to myself I was going to sell the car. So I had listed it for sale, but then I thought like, I randomly swiped in my phone and saw that app again. Like before I sell it, let's just see what happens. Let me rent it out. And maybe I'll make money with it. Maybe I'll keep it and just have it as an asset now. And that's what I did.
So you put it on that app. And then do you recall how long when you put the car actually on the app, that somebody actually hit you up to rent the car?
Oh, bro, it was within 2 days, I had got a booking for a week and a half.
And then what that feel like? That first booking?
Oh, man, it was nerve-wracking. That's what it felt like, man. Look, I was scared. I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. I almost canceled it.
Word?
I was like, I don't know if I can go through.
So the first rental was, you said, about a week and a half?
Yep.
So do you recall how much money that was on that particular booking?
No, I don't.
But it was a couple $100.
Yeah, so yeah, it probably was. Because that car got rented every weekend. And I remember making like $500-600
per booking.
No, in total, like for the month.
Oh, okay.
Like after expenses, that's what I was making like net, like $500 to $600 off that car. And I'm like, okay, that's not bad.
Just for the weekend booking.
For the weekend bookings through the month.
Got you.
So look, 3 or 4 weekends out the month, that's what I would make from it, just from the weekend bookings. So like, okay. That's when I realized it could be a lot bigger and I can take it to another level.
So you had that first car rocking, weekend bookings.
Yes,
how'd you turn it from there?
So, man, I'll touch on that first rental first because, man, we had some stuff happen. But so I'm nervous the whole time.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm sending the guy messages.
Oh, so
every 2 days.
So you checking in with him?
I'm checking in every 2 days. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? How's the car? Like
he's like, yo, is this dude giving me actually customer service or is something wrong with him?
Exactly. But the thing is, it was like the fifth or sixth day, the guy calls me and says that the car has died on the highway. He burnt the clutch out because it was manual. So I had a manual Mustang GT. He burnt the clutch out on the highway. And I was panicked. I'm like, I knew I shouldn't have done this. Like, this is crazy. But we got it all figured out. He actually helped pay for most of it for the repairs.
Yeah.
So he took care of that.
So he was cool about it.
Yeah, he was cool.
He knew that
he was practicing probably, practicing driving manual, which I know now when people do that. But he paid for a lot of it. And he's actually the one that was like, bro, don't give up. Try it one more time.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
He was encouraging you.
My first renter.
Yo, that's kind of ill. So he actually paid for something that was his responsibility.
Exactly.
And then he was still like, yo, keep going.
Yeah, because I told him I was done. I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm taking it off the platform. When we had met in person, he had returned it. He was like, no, man. He said, you might be doing this for a reason. He said, just give it another shot. This could be just a one-off situation. And it was.
Okay.
Once I got it all fixed, I put it back on there and it was just smooth. I think that car had like 80 trips before I retired it and sold it for a profit.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? It's Brennan Boy, and one of the best things that has helped me go to the next level is powerful affirmations. I would say them every single day, literally when I open my eyes. So I put together these powerful affirmation cards to help you get to that next level, right? With powerful statements like, I live in abundance, or statements like, I'm not a prisoner of my limiting beliefs. Now, if you say these things to yourself every single day, using the power of repetition, you're gonna believe the things that you wanna achieve. So look, grab your affirmation deck or your manifestation deck or your money manifestation deck. Let's grow your mindset and let's get you to the next level, right? Click that link below, grab your cards, let's go. So you had that going on. The dude was actually putting a battery in your back telling you not to quit. And then how did you transition from adding more cars to the fleet, or how did you start educating yourself about doing this full time?
So I went about this way different than what most people do. And it starts with like my financial background.
Okay.
Like I read a lot, or at least I did before, taking more action on it. But I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Y'all read that?
Yeah. So
that's a good
when I
book.
got to that one, like it was like, certain books click at certain times in your life, right? So that one, I read it. It was all about investments and everything. Talked about, saving at least 10% of your income that comes in, only investing wisely. So for 2-3 years straight, I saved at least 10% of every check that came in, sent it to another account. And that's actually what I used to buy that Mustang. I bought it cash.
Got you. This is early.
Yeah. This is before I got it. So I didn't know what I would invest in.
Yeah, but you was using the principles.
I was using the principles. I'm like, one day I'm going to know what to invest his money in. I'm just going to keep saving.
But you got
10%.
it. Yeah, you have it available.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I bought that car cash, and then I let that car rent out. And because I had a job, a steady source of income, I did the same thing. All the revenue from that car, I saved it with the money I was saving from my job.
So you had a bigger 10%.
Now I got a bigger percent.
Yeah.
And then later that year, I bought my second car cash. And then I repeated that till I had 7 cars, all cash. So I grew that way. And I say it's different because most people use credit right out the gate.
Yeah, 100%. Especially now with all the information that's available to them. Like even you, with the information that you know now, would you have leverage credit to get your fleet popping if you were just starting, or would you think you would do the same thing?
Yeah,
or
I would have
combination
leveraged
of
credit earlier.
Okay.
Sooner. Yeah. I would have still did it the same with my first 2 cars, because I think what that was is instill principles in me of like how to manage money.
Yeah.
Like me managing my own money, like I knew I had to take it a lot more serious because I came from real estate. Remember when I said I crashed and burned in real estate, I took a lot of loans out. I messed up my credit. I was way over leveraged. So I'm like, I was a little afraid of credit. But I'm like, okay, let me restart from scratch. When it was my money on the line, I was way more cautious, right?
Yeah.
So I took my time with it. And then over the time, I learned the process a lot better, a lot faster. And then start using my credit.
So that's cool too, man, because I like what you said when you were talking about when you actually have more skin in the game, because you had your own money as opposed to using OPM. Which is not wrong with doing that, but the mindset behind you doing that made you a little bit more intentional, a little bit more committed.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because like this was your bread.
Exactly.
In the mix.
Yep. My money, my skin was in the game for sure. And I realized like I'm a numbers guy. So I did the numbers on like my return on investment. Most people will say putting your cash into buying cars is a bad investment, but that's from a consumer mindset.
Okay.
You're buying a car cash that you're going to drive around. It's a liability. 100%, I wouldn't recommend to buy it cash because that doesn't make sense. When you can borrow money at 3%, doesn't make sense. But what I was doing is investing in a car, turning it into an asset. And because I wasn't using the money to live on, I was making 120% ROI on my money in a year.
So break that down, man, because you're saying car essentially is a liability.
Correct.
But because of the business that you are operating in and the mindset you had with the position going into it, you turn the liability into an asset.
Correct.
So you just talked about if you have it and you're just driving around, because I've done that, bro. I got this video on YouTube. It talked about how I blew a $150,000 bag. And it's all because I was paying cash for these cars one by one.
Gotcha.
When I was a teenager. So I empathize with that. But I want you to kind of just share with the people like that whole turning the liability to an asset as far as cars are concerned.
Yeah, so it's levels to it too. Like there's so many different ways to look at it, but when you buy a car that you're gonna drive, and that's its only purpose, get you from point A to point B, and you put that much cash out there, you're paying for the car in this lump sum of cash where you can actually take that cash and grow it at a much higher rate. So that's really what the game is. Like even from reading these books and my financial background, I understand like whatever you can do with your money, you want to get the highest return possible with your money.
Yeah. And
then the things that give you the lowest rate, like as far as, borrowing money, if you're going to do that with something you're going to use personally, it makes sense. So I'm trying to think of ways to put it too, to really connect the dots. But I just realized that I can grow my money a lot faster than like a standard stock portfolio, for example.
by using this particular business?
Yeah. So in most businesses, really. So in business, it's one of the main things. I wrote it in my first book that I had published. Business is one of the fastest ways to grow your wealth. So most people think it's real estate. Because they always say, most people have 7 sources of income. Most people got rich with real estate, made their millions. But no one ever takes the time to look at the history of that person before they bought real estate. Most of them started a business first.
Yeah, facts.
So I realized that. I'm like, damn, so they start a business, they generate all this money with their business, and then when they have excess money, they put it into things like real estate. So me knowing that, I took all my money and put it into a business. Cause I'm like, I'm just following the blueprint.
Yeah, facts.
So I figure it's the same. It's the same no matter if it's a barbershop, it's a grocery store you're starting, or rental cars. It's just rental cars are so controversial because people think of them from that consumer mindset so much. They're used to that, like buying it for themselves and just driving their personal car.
That's definitely true, man. People, they have their dream car, or they have whatever car they want to purchase, and they just kind of like locked in on just purchasing it. Not really understanding that, I can actually turn this to an asset, and I could, do what Dave's doing, or potentially just rent it out. And that can actually pay for me owning the car, and I can drive a car for free. Yeah.
So that's one way. And I started off doing that. Yeah. I had a Challenger Scat Pack. Like I always wanted a Challenger, a Super B, and then they changed it to the Scat Pack. They got the Hellcats and stuff. So I bought one, and I wanted to offset the ownership and have it pay for itself, and I have a free car, and then make a little money on the top. I did that. Someone crashed it, wrecked it, sold my car. I was hurt, right? I was like, dang, it's business. So I knew it was a potential to happen. And I had, a couple other cars crash. So now what I do is, like, I have my C8 Corvette. Instead of me renting that car out, I went and bought other cars, or assigned one other car to pay for that car.
Yeah.
So because I've grown my fleet, I can take on that responsibility. So I leverage that. The C8 definitely is financed because I'm driving it myself. So it's financed that, and then the monthly payment is paid by
one of the other cars.
One of my other cars in my fleet.
Yeah, so one of my guys, Marvin Mitchell, I don't know if you follow Marvin Mitchell online.
I don't.
So he actually broke this down on a social proof, where he had, as he was developing and growing, one of his dream cars happened to be a Range Rover, right? Mm-hmm. And then he was talking about like just thinking higher, right? So he had gotten a Lamborghini Huracan, right?
Right.
And he got it with the intent to rent it out. But once he got it, he got so much, like admiration, so much looks, and even got business from it, a lot of business from it. He was like, I don't want to rent this one out. Facts. So he basically did what you said. So he ended up buying another Lambo, and then that other Lambo paid for the Lambo that he's not renting out, and then obviously brings in that profit.
That's the way to do it, man. That's it. I call it the new rich. I know there's a lot of terms for new rich, but if you can assign an asset to pay for a liability, and then you still have excess income, you're winning. So I have Airbnbs too. I assign an Airbnb to where I live.
Okay, dope.
So now my rent is paid for by the Airbnb.
So let's break that down, man. So let's really talk about how you have your TURO business set up, and now you have how many cars?
I have 18 active.
You got 18 active. Yeah. And I remember an interview you did, I think, with Ryan, when you were talking about how, at least at that time, you were just starting to do an offer where you would take on other people's vehicles if they weren't, if they wanted to make a little extra cash,
right?
Or give you another opportunity to grow a fleet and leverage as well by bringing those other cars. So let's talk about that a little bit. How do you have your TURO business set up?
Yeah. So I started off obviously with the cash cars I was buying, and then I got into leveraging my credit. So I used my personal credit to get a couple cars. And then I started building my business credit at the same time.
Shout out to the business credit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now when I buy cars myself, it's always with my business credit. Mm-hmm. But I realized there was a way that I could add cars to my fleet without putting any of my own money, any of my own credit on the line. And that's by adding OPC. That's
other people's cars.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yes, sir. So once I realized...
trademarked that yet?
Not yet. Not yet. Hey, by the time this ends, it will be trademarked.
That's what I'm talking about. That's crazy.
Because, I came from real estate. So, OPM, everyone uses that other people's money. But I'm like, other people's cars. Yeah. That's going to ring. That's going to stick. Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to have to do OPP, other people's podcasts or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure that out.
I think I already did that. You down with OPP?
Yeah, but that's the other P though. That ain't the podcast.
That ain't the
podcast. That's another P right there. All right, so let's talk about that. Like, what was your approach to get some additional leverage, in lieu of the cars, like, did you DM people? Did you canvas? Like, how were you connecting with leads or people that had cars available that could be someone that cars that you bring on?
Yeah, so the main way was posting online. Like, and
we talking about Instagram, we talking about the internet, we talking about
yeah. So social media platforms.
Okay,
so,
social.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook mainly was where it started, and then that's before I got on TikTok. But that's blowing up now too. So TikTok is definitely lead generation. But I started posting online January 2021 because I had mentors telling me like, hey, social media is big. This is how you can grow your business. At the time, I didn't really see the connection. I'm like, I'm growing a car rental fleet. Like, what do I need to do content for? Like, I'm marketing in my own local area. But then it started to connect. And once I had a following, people that wanted to learn how to do it, because I get free game all the time.
Yeah, facts.
I'm like, how I do it, how I grow, how they can do it better. And then once I presented the opportunity, people were quick to jump on it. Because people had actually asked me to do it before I even did it.
What, like make content?
People had asked me
to take their car on it. Yeah.
Add
so you was getting the leads early.
I was getting them
and you
early.
was just like,
I was saying no, but that's because I had a job and I was tied to that job. So I was doing this as a part-time side hustle.
Got you.
And I was like, I just don't have time.
Got you.
You got to do it yourself. But then it all clicked. I'm like, man, once I left my job, it opened up more time. And that's when I started taking them. I was like, all right, everyone is still interested. Let's do it.
So when you transitioned from that from your job at the time, did you think, okay, I need to take 1 to 2 more cars off to replace the revenue I'm bringing in? Like, how did you figure, okay, if I have X amount of revenue, if I do X amount of extra cars, I can leave what I'm doing and then focus fully on the
So that's a good question too, because I know there's a lot of TURO hosts that struggle with this. Like, they want to do it full time, they want to leave the 9-to-5 job, and
yes, give us the game, Dave.
Yeah.
Give us the game.
So the main thing is there's no real answer.
Okay.
Right? It all depends on your individual circumstances, right? On the revenue. But what I did was I scaled the cars to the point where it was making the same amount as my job was making.
Okay. How many cars did you have during this scale?
About
part
7.
of the fleet. Okay, you have 7 cars, and that 7 car was generating enough where you could leave the full time.
I could leave it, but it wasn't going to be leaving comfortably. I was paying my bills with that, but I had to really make some moves to really get to the next level.
Gotcha.
So I was in a sense putting my back against the wall. I'm like, all right, I have enough where I can leave now. I had mentors in place, so like I have a clear vision of where I'm going. And that's why I'm like, all right, I got to take the leap right now. It's time. And plus I was kind of forced to.
Yeah.
Like with my job, I was like really distracted because I was growing my fleet so fast. Yeah. So I started working.
So you was out your job, not even thinking about the job.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing the bare minimum. I was skating by at the end. I was like, man, it's time.
You're like, yo, they're giving me free money for just showing up.
Yeah, so I had to make that decision. So I didn't want to steal any of their time. I understand, how business works. So I'm like, all right.
So you figured out a formula that worked for you at the time, and at that time was like 7 vehicles would give you generate enough revenue where you could leave your full time and then actively participate in this business full time to figure out how I can even make more money.
Facts.
It's about 7 cars.
Yep. So and it's a combination of a few things though too. So I figured replacing my income, so I had just enough to replace it, but also understanding budgeting.
Yeah.
And, lowering your expenses as much as you can. As entrepreneurs, I know it's rough on some of us. A lot of people don't talk about these things, right? But in certain periods of growth, if you don't have that much income, your only choice is to lower your expenses.
Yeah, facts.
So I lived in, I had my wife and we had our son at the time. She was pregnant with our second daughter, and we lived in a apartment. We hated the apartment. Our neighbors smoked all the time. It came into our apartment. Dogs pooped outside.
Yeah. Sounds like LA, bro.
Yeah. So we were in this apartment, like just in the mud. Like this is where we stayed, even though.
So your wife's a rider, yeah?
Oh, she is.
Yeah, that's what's up.
For sure.
That's important for you to find somebody that can understand and work with you going on and like has a good support of your vision.
Right. Yeah. I just got to present that vision. Anybody's having problems with that, I say, look, focus on presenting that vision and articulating the right way so your friends and family understand what you're doing and trust you. So at that time we were living there, I was making good money with my job, and this was a side hustle. Like I was killing it at that time. Like I had all this money from this and this coming in. So, it's easy to see that we would want to move somewhere else, lifestyle inflation. So she was like, oh, we want to get out of here. We want to move into a house. We can afford it now. We can get nicer cars. And the whole time I'm like, no, we got to hold off. We got to hold off. Because I wanted an emergency fund. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
So the business, the car rentals replaced my income, but I also had, I think, either 3 or 6 months of emergency fund expenses.
Reserves, yeah.
Reserves set away. So that's key right there.
And that's from 10%.
Exactly.
Yeah,
never changed. I kept that going, and I kept saving everything from the cars all the way through the point where I quit my job. So that was like 2.5 years of not spending a dime from the rental cars.
And where'd you get that mindset? Was that from reading? Was that from parents? Like where'd that get instilled? Okay.
Yeah, so that's from reading. That's from investing in myself, getting mentors, and I just started paying a lot to learn.
Facts. Yep.
And that's when I was...
You paying with time, or you paying with money, or you paying with both?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I realized I could save a lot of time by investing the money that I had. So now, if I ever want to get to the next level, like I'm getting into the digital product space, I have money.
We talked about that.
Why spend a lot of time figuring it out, stumbling, if I could just hire a coach?
Yep, facts. And expedite.
And expedite
that process. And that's what the money's for.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You leverage some of the money so you can actually skip, one of the steps, which in your case would be the learning curve that comes with, okay, how am I setting it up? What's going in it? What type of digital products I want? Am I doing funnels, not doing funnels?
Exactly.
All of that. Yep. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I get in the right rooms, surround myself with the right people, and I pay for that sometimes. Yeah. So it's worth it.
So for the people out there, what are you talking about in terms of like revenue, with this business? Like what type of revenue can people generate with this business?
Yeah. So with mine, it's changing dramatically because I'm scaling right now. Like I have 20 cars, but 18 active. But every month, if I show you my graph, my income's going up, 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 because I'm in grind mode right now, like scaling. But with those 7 cars, and I think they were all cash cars, so I didn't have payments attached to them. So my margin was way high. Like it was just paying insurance, which is way down here.
Yeah.
And then, but I think on average at that time, I was making about $800 to $900 a car with the economy cars, times 7.
Yeah.
So maybe $5,000 a month or something like that on those cars.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So $5,000 a month doing something that you actually enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
Having your time available to you. You know what I'm saying? So you can figure out, okay, because now you're at 20, but so you move from that 7 to that 20.
Right.
So is the margin different now?
It is.
Yeah.
So, and this is a balancing act that I'm going through that I didn't have people telling me before I did this. And it's important that people that are growing right now really understand this. Like once you
look right there, let them know.
Yeah. So once you
right there, let them know.
Once you start to leverage credit, it's a great tool, right? Leveraging my business credit, personal credit, all that. Getting cars where you have a payment on them, your margin is going to shrink. So when my margin used to be here on 7 cars, now it's starting to slowly shrink. My income's going up, but the margin's shrinking because I have debt attached to it. So now you have to figure out ways to actually outpace depreciation, with the cars, have enough money to live on, and then pay the debt at a fast. I recommend pay it at a fast rate. So what I do is kind of like almost like the Dave Ramsey of snowballing the debt, but I do it for business purpose. So I kind of take my own twist to it. Yeah. And I start at the lower ones. I'll pay off a car. And then it opens up more money. And then I can pay more aggressively towards the next car. I do it that way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And podcasters, how would you like to make 5 or 6 figures with your podcast? Did you know that most podcasters do not make any revenue? It's because they think they need brand deals, sponsorships, and a large audience to monetize your show. But what if I told you you don't need none of that? There's a simple 4-step framework to position your show to be monetized. And I can give it again completely for free. All you need to do is head over to podcast2profits.live and I'll see you in this exclusive training. I'm going to give you all the game. What are you waiting for? Head over to the training. Let's go.
All right, Dave, you're talking about debt a little bit, right?
Right.
And then the finances. So people that want to grow their business, because some people right now, they might be scared of credit. You know what I'm saying? They may not have business credit. And they might hear the word debt, be like, I don't want debt, bro. I just want to pay all cash for my cars, and then do this business. So when it comes to debt and the way that you leverage it, why would that be something for someone to really take another look at and possibly use debt as leverage to generate, more revenue, but then also get some more costs?
Yeah. So once I was living off the income from the cars, that's when I started using debt a lot more. And I realized that by leveraging the credit and debt, you can scale a lot faster. So you do still have that debt to pay off, but I recommend no one get into using their credit until they have a proven system. Like that's for me, and that's why I use cash for so long.
So don't use the credit, you're saying, unless you're comfortable with a proven system, because you can move a little bit faster, you not get caught. Like, why would you?
Exactly. So you don't get into bad situations. And that's why most people are scared, because they really don't know what they're doing. And that's, for me being a consultant, I've been a consultant for years and helping, detail companies grow. Another thing people do is they spend a lot of time writing business plans. I'm like, well, how are you going to write a business plan on a business you never run?
Facts.
And then that's why it's taking you so long.
Yeah.
That's why instead of doing that, just, get started with something small and start to scale up from there. You're going to learn the process from starting at the base level. So the same thing, learn with, a car you already have.
Yep.
Or a car you spend the least money out of pocket for. Learn the process with that before taking on larger debt. If you get one car on credit, that's fine, as long as you can take care of that payment yourself without renting it out.
So I know earlier we talked a little bit about the revenue, and off camera we was kind of going back and forth a little bit, but I kind of want the people to kind of understand what type of revenue they could generate if they want to run a TURO rental business of their own. So like, what's like a range, or, if you want to share what you do or whatever, but what's like a range someone can aspire to if they're starting this business?
Yeah. So, but like I mentioned before, with the cash cars, you got a lot more margin. With the finance cars, you got a little less margin, but the revenue can go up because you can add more. But yeah, for me right now, with 18 cars active, and that just became 18 this month. So last month, I think I had 17 active. I made about 16K with those cars. And it fluctuates up and down. The month before, I made 22K. So, but I also take advantage of like different promotions and things like that. So in the end, for me, with the debt and with some of the cash cars that I have and OPC, other people's cars, I have about a 40% profit margin.
That's crazy.
I take from that. Yeah.
So at your other job, were you making that type of money?
No.
No?
No, not that type. No.
And it was capped. I assume it was kind of capped.
It would go up some, and I was in sales too, so I kind of determined how much I could make. I could make more,
but it wasn't going up fast enough.
Yeah, it was capped.
Yeah,
like, I'm already like spending years there. Where I ended at, I'm already surpassed that after going. This is my first 6 months out in the field by myself with it.
So 16 to 22K right now. Scaling the business, growing. You're going to be adding digital products, what we talked about.
Right.
I
have them now.
Okay, you have them now. I know you got the book. So what are some of the other products and some of the other offers you currently have available?
Yeah, so the book that you guys have saw, that's it's not about the cars at all. That's just about a story of how I stopped living paycheck to paycheck.
Which is, I mean, that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
That's important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it talks about my process in that, and then helping them prepare themselves for going into business on their own. So it's like an A through Z, exactly my standpoint, what I did and what worked. And so I put that in there.
Okay.
But then I also have 3 different digital products for the car rental now. So I have a basic ebook available, which is free. It shows people what they need to know before adding other people's cars to
So you got a lead gen.
Got the lead gen.
Got a lead gen.
Then I have the advanced ebook that has more complete training.
Okay.
That also comes with mentorship too.
Dope. Okay.
Yep.
So you got that, the advanced, and the advanced comes with the mentorship, or is the mentorship separate?
You can get it both. You can get it both ways. You can get it just by itself, or you can get it with the mentorship.
And what's the mentorship price point right now?
So I actually lowered it because I knew we were doing this. So I want to give people a discount deal on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yep. So it's right around $1,000. I brought it down to $399.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep. Nice. That's crazy. And then as far as you being involved in that, how much can they get access to you in that mentorship?
So it's a 3-week mentorship.
Okay.
And this is subject to
that's
change.
expedited, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're gonna get the sauce. They're gonna get the sauce in 21 days?
Bro. It's I got some testimonials I haven't dropped yet, but you're gonna see what some of my mentees are doing.
So you can get the sauce from WestCoastDave, 21 days for $400.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Killing it.
Bro, that's like $133 a week.
Right. It's super
you know what I'm saying?
cheap.
That's crazy.
So it's gonna show them how to buy the car, how to buy it right. Like it's so in depth. Like I felt like I gave too much value. But that's why I learned you should feel like that.
And then how fast could they basically ROI with that? So they got that investment. How fast can they get the ROI with that?
On that investment?
Yeah.
Oh, they can make it like day one if they already have a car.
Yeah,
someone who already has a car.
So you can be actively in the mentorship making bread.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think everyone who's done it so far has been active and making money throughout the whole process. Because, you don't have to have a car to start, because I'm going to teach you how to get other people's cars to add it.
Damn, you give them an OPC game?
Oh, that's where it really gets crazy.
That's nuts, bro.
Yep. That's where it gets crazy.
So you don't have to have a car at all.
No car.
You can get this program.
Yep.
You can learn how to leverage, get access to someone else's car and make money with someone else's car.
Yep.
That's nuts.
The no money, no credit way to get into it. And you just
got to believe.
You got to believe it. You got to know how to pitch it. Most people don't know what they need to say to someone else for them to trust them to try it.
So what does that look like? So pretend you ain't got a car. I got a car. You don't know me. So what would you say to me? And how would you say it? Would this be a DM? Would this be a text? Would this be an ad? How would you get my attention?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it would definitely be through content, but I'm also telling everybody what I do constantly in person.
Yep.
So if you see me in person, one, I have my business card now, my car that I drive. I'll use that as a conversation piece, start up a conversation. Oh, this is what I do, by the way. So people that are new to it, they can do the same thing, but I say, have either a proven system in place, and you can get that proven system from the mentorship and ebook. So now that you have A through Z of how to add OPC to your TURO rental fleet, say, hey, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I put together an investor packet, just like real estate. This is the investor packet. Here's examples of what you can make and what you can earn, and then you present that to the people. So now when it's in writing, it's more tangible.
What's that actual conversation though? You know what I'm saying? Like, what words are you using? I know people like, what is he actually saying?
Yeah. So the main thing I say is, I have a business where you can add cars to my fleet and I rent them out and we split the profit.
Got you.
Yep. That's why I started. Like, hey, you got an extra car? I could rent it out for you and we can make money with that car.
Yeah. And the reason why I was asking that way is because I know there's some people on here that's probably watching that, have anxiety, nervous. They don't know how to start those conversations.
Yep.
They don't know, code DM, what I'm saying? Even though they're on the internet and they're in the comfort of their home, they got their phone in their hand. They're still kind of nervous about just talking to a stranger on the internet.
Yep.
Or if they see somebody, same thing.
Yeah, and I can take it a little further too. So that's the first thing is like saying, hey, just so you know, I can rent out your car if we both can make money with it. They're always going to follow up with a couple things, objections, right?
Yeah.
Rent my car out. Oh man, what if someone crashes it? You got to know what to say after that, right? So if someone crashes it, guess what? My insurance takes care of it. This is the amount of coverage I have, and I show them because I have it all in the investor package. So you're safe. So what if someone steals my car? Oh, no problem. All our cars are tracked. We have tracking devices and kill switches where we can turn it off and recover it at any time or send the police to pick it up. And getting your car stolen is very, very rare in this industry.
Yeah, and the way that you coming off also matters too, because I felt really safe while you were saying that.
Yeah,
I don't even have a car for you to take,
but that comes from the confidence.
That's what I'm saying.
Confidence comes from experience, and then also having like that guide that's going to help you. Like, okay, this is how it's going to go.
Yeah, so it's like you get the roadmap, you get and you get the support.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
What's up, y'all? So I want to take a second to speak to my creators. So whether you currently got a podcast or think about launching a podcast, maybe you got a YouTube channel and you think about launching a YouTube channel. Here are the facts. Did you know that 9 out of 10 creators actually quit because they don't have anyone to hold them accountable? That's why all you need to do, right? Click that link below, join my Action Takers community, because not only are we going to hold you accountable, we're going to teach you how to execute at a higher level. Plus, give you access to principles and strategies to grow your mindset and generate more revenue. So what are you waiting for? Click that link below and join one of the fastest growing content and accountabilities communities. All right, I'll see you on the inside.
All right, man. So if you were starting your business from the beginning all over like today, is there a couple things you would have done differently?
Yeah. So what I would do is after I bought maybe my second car cash, I would have started using my credit right then.
Okay.
So I would use credit earlier because I bought maybe 7 cash cars for the business before I got into credit. And I was like, man, I just waited too long because I could have scaled a lot faster.
Using credit,
yeah. Yep. And other than that, I don't know, maybe would have left the job earlier. I had that security, so I know how it feels to have that security and not want to take that leap of faith. But if I would have used credit, I would have been able to scale faster, and I would have left the job faster.
Facts.
And I would have hired mentors faster.
So you mentioned books, right? Richest Man in Babylon. What are some other books that you might recommend for the people to tap into?
Oh, it's a bunch of them. And I understand, for you guys, certain books will relate at certain times of your life. So Richest Man in Babylon is like when you're at a point where you're making money and you want to know what to do with it. It's killer for that. A book before you have any money saved, The Compound Effect, is great. It's going to show you how to compound your actions every day and your money when you start making it and saving it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great mindset one. Man, Think and Grow Rich is a great mindset one. Those are like 2 that I would say at the very beginning, read those for sure. Yep. And then you kind of go up the line. I've read so many of them, man. It's crazy.
All right, if you were starting your own academy, because I know you got the mentorship,
Right.
but let's think if you had your own West Coast Dave School, West Coast Dave Academy, right? What were like 3 or 4 things people once they graduate they need to learn? They can't leave your academy without these 3 or 4 things. What would those things be?
It would be understanding depreciation would be key. Because with these cars, it's easy to get into a car and the depreciation outpaces your income. So you got to, one, know how to optimize the car and get the most money out of that car per month. I talked to a guy yesterday. I went to a gym. He actually recognized me from social media. And he was like, oh, I know you're the guy with the TURO cars. And he said he rents out a car long term for $600 a month. I'm like, $600 a month? Way too cheap.
Yeah, definitely.
Like in the car rental space. Like
what kind of car is it?
It was the economy car, but even the economy cars, mine are making over 1,000. Some of them like right at 1,000 a month. So I'm like $600 a month. And the reason I say you have to make more, even though it probably feels like it's okay for them, when emergency happens, you want to have that extra cushion. So it's optimizing the cars, making the most out of them, outpacing depreciation heavily. Like, depreciation is just part of the factor. You should outpace that big time. And then let me think of another one.
There can be some mindset stuff too. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna leave and they're gonna have these things ingrained in their mindset. They can be better people.
Yeah. So mindset is obviously key. Like that's, and I was one of them people that hated when I heard rich people mention mindset. Right? It's like mindset.
Like it can't just be that.
Yeah, it can't be that, but it's facts that it actually is because most people don't think they can do it, so you can't.
Yeah, facts.
If you think you can, you can. It's like you both are right. So the mindset is definitely key.
Listen, I think I can do it. You don't think you can do it. We both right.
Yep, exactly. And you have to be a student to the game. Like 100%, I'm a student to this day. I will forever be a student.
So really, so you're saying they need to really be a student to whatever that craft is.
Forever.
Study that.
Forever. No matter how much money they're making, never get cocky. Understand that things can change and you can pivot and learn more at any time. So
being a student to the game, whatever industry they're in, really understand depreciation. And then what's the third one you was going to say? You said optimizing.
Yep, optimizing and making the most revenue per car.
Got you.
And how to do that.
Yeah, I think that.
And then also buying the cars. That was, so it's so many things they're going to learn in there. Like this is what they learn in the mentorship too. But learning how to buy the cars. I'm a firm believer that you make your money when you buy it.
Got you. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, so
definitely. I mean, real estate's the same way.
Yeah,
exactly. Taking advantage of that number.
Yeah. Like I learned that in real estate and I applied it to this and everything started clicking with the cars. And so when I buy my cars and it gets into a crash, and let's say it's total loss, I've had 4 total losses. I've made money on all of them.
Yeah.
So I cash flowed them. I paid a certain amount. When they got totaled, I got paid more than I paid, and I got the cash flow.
I think that's good, man. And most people would think if my car gets crashed, they're not gonna think like that. They're gonna be thinking the other way. It's actually learning that.
They're gonna be ready to quit.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways to make money.
Like, yo, crash my car, please. Right, I know what I can take. You know what I'm saying? I know what's gonna happen.
I'm cool either way. I mean, I like to keep my assets. So
obviously.
I don't want them to go shopping again.
But you're prepared though.
I'm prepared for it. Even if a fender bender happens, you have to understand how to optimize that. Like someone crashes the front bumper and it's not totaled. Like when they give you a quote on getting your repairs done, do you have a good relationship with a body shop?
Yep.
You can go there and get it done for cheaper than the quote. So now you actually profit on top of that.
Yeah.
So profit on accidents, total loss, everything.
Yeah, for sure. I heard Mitch talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Pushman?
Yeah.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah, I heard him talk about that.
Yep.
That's what's up. All right, man. So anything else for the people? You know what I'm saying? What else could you tell them? What other drip gems you want to give them before we get out of here?
Man, if y'all get into this, don't be scared of it. Just follow a blueprint and don't skip steps. The number one reason, if anyone is watching this, you're interested in car rentals, join the Facebook pages for TURO. Go in there, read it. Half of it is going to scare you to death, right? But realize this, now that I'm telling you, most of the people that have horror stories on there, they skip steps. And the number one step they skip is not doing proper check-ins for the car. So they skip taking pictures of all around the car, the inside of the car. I take 60 plus photos every time.
Yo, and I gotta be honest. That's tedious. You know what I'm saying? That's tedious. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
60.
But it's quick though. So you
I was gonna ask you about that.
It probably takes 2-3 minutes to do.
Yeah, I know people skipping that step.
They skip it.
Yeah.
They skip it. Sometimes people have their renters take the pictures for them, and they just rely on the renters' pictures.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do it.
That's what it's. So if you use Turo, they go based on those pictures on if they're going to pay you or not for a damage claim. So most of the people you'll see complaining about this happened, Turo doesn't pay, they missing out on money because they skipped a step. They didn't read the terms of service.
Man, listen, I appreciate you. Where can they find you? Where can they get more of your information? Where can they tap in with you?
Yeah, so tap in with me on all social media platforms, but I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok at WestCoastDave _. And if you're interested in that free ebook, make sure y'all go and grab it. It's free right now. 5 core things you need to know before renting out other people's cars on your Turo fleet.
All right, y'all, been another episode of the Imperfect Show. Been another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. I got 2 podcasts, man. It's been another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast with my guy, West Coast Dave. Make sure you guys tap in with him, get all the information you need. He's in the process of scaling, so that's 16 and 22. I'm pretty sure it's going to be doubling fast. So if you got any questions about the rental game, make sure you tap in with Dave, and we'll see you guys on the episode.
See y'all later.